Hello, and welcome to Fireplace Stories, brought to you by the Owen Sound and North Grey Union Public Library. I will be reading a story from the book Only If We're Caught by Teresa Slind. Their fever dreams were child drawings. But oh, sweetness! The hallway where she waits in her wheelchair is painted the color of cookie dough, which she used to eat by the spoonful. Her weakness for baking had softened a sturdy farm wife frame. She used to take up more space, but her current bird lightness, her porous-boned spine curling in on itself, as if to tuck beak under wing for sleep, has its advantages. She sees things differently, sideways, and memories lend texture. So the first sight of the little girl in William's old room is paired with the smell and taste of brown sugar, butter, and vanilla. The girl is lying on her belly at the foot of William's old bed, concentrating on a drawing. Margaret waits for William out of habit alone. He died last week, and she misses his teasing. "Maggie, darling, let me get a word in, will you?" Because Parkinson's has left her speechless. Or, giving me the silent treatment again, I see. The other Aspen Grove residents thought of them as going steady. The room's new occupant is Caroline, according to the nameplate beside the doorway. In a niche below the nameplate is a soapstone carving of a whale. William called it his personality niche, and only last week it was bursting with tamer pieces from his collection of 17th century Japanese erotica. She worried over this affectation during her first few months at Aspen Grove, obsessing over which of her knickknacks really said Margaret. She gave up after watching her temporary neighbor's rotating display of gewgaws. Her personality niche is an anonymous crypt for one dead fly. The girl looks up at her and trails snot along her sleeve. She has dark hair in pillow-fuzzed braids and big brown eyes. How old would she be? Margaret waves. The girl holds up 4 fingers and says, "Actually, 4.5. Having reached her 93rd year, Margaret is not surprised. "This is how it is now," is her reaction to everything from cell phones, to the accountant's neck tattoo, to telepathic children. "What's that, Piper?" A woman's voice from deeper in the room, hidden from view. Piper as a proper name is unfamiliar to Margaret, but she likes it. Girl Piper, Sand Piper, Pied Piper, Icing Piper, Sweetness. "I wasn't talking to you, Mama." Girl Piper wriggles into a cross-legged position. "I was talking to Margaret." Piper points. Mama pokes her head around the doorway, offers a rigid smile. "We'll let Nana sleep," says Mama to Piper. Nice to let Caroline sleep, thinks Margaret. There are good and natural reasons for their collective fatigue. Practice for the big sleep, for one. "Mama, what's the big sleep?" "It sounds more fun than my little sleeps." "Quit talking silly, Piper. Let's find a playground." "Yay!" Piper bunny hops out of the room and holds on to the wheelchair. "You're funny," she whispers. Margaret cups her ear, trapping the child's warm breath, as sideways she watches the pair leave. Who is this Piper? Compensation for losing William? Life's answer to overstaying its welcome? "I know it's miserable, Margaret. Here, take this. Now quit whining." She lifts her bird legs off their footrests and lets her heavy white sneakers drop to the floor with a squeak. She paddles away, gliding along the shimmering, polished floor, as silent as a swan. Or maybe a duck or goose. Mustn't let life's gifts go to one's head. When Piper and Mama wheel Caroline into the activity room the next morning, Margaret is parked along with her fellow residents in a ragged semicircle. She rubs thumb against fingers excitedly. Piper crawls onto Mama's lap, calls across the room, "Hi, Margaret." Margaret lifts a hand and imagines her old smile, wide and dimpling. She is relieved, for Piper's sake, to see the nice exercise lady, not the "I picked the wrong career" exercise lady, take her seat at the top of the semicircle and say, "Let's get started, friends. Shoulders, everyone. Shoulders back. Shoulders forward. Look, even the little girl is doing it. What's your name, pet?" "Piper." "Pardon me, sweetheart?" "Up, down, that's right. Piper with a Y. Let's stretch our necks. Turn and look at your neighbor. To the right. Now to the left. Let's show little Piper with a Y how we do it. Piper, dear, are you sick? Cough into your elbow, like this." The most obedient residents bring the crook of their elbows up to their faces, following along with the exercise. Afterwards, though, Manfred has fallen asleep in his wheelchair, a blessing. Margaret and most of the others have an extra theoretical spring in their step. Piper slides off Mama's lap and plays on an imaginary high wire in the middle of the semicircle, placing one foot in front of the other with her arms straight out at her sides. Whoa, whoa, and she goes flying off her high wire. In those residents like Margaret, left with only one bland expression, the glee is hard to detect, but many can still speak. "What an angel! How clever! Aren't you a darling?" Clover wouldn't have approved, but I say better seen and heard. Margaret feels a new sense of solidarity with her fellow residents. Better to think of them fondly as a group, rather than as beloved individuals. William would be her last beloved individual, other than Piper, of course. "Piper, time to go." Mama stands. "Say bye-bye." Piper skips over and places her warm hand on Margaret's, resting tremulously in her lap. "Bye, Margaret." William sounds nice. Mama gives her a puzzled frown. Margaret would smile to reassure her if she could. Piper visits Aspen Grove with her mama every morning for a week. They flew in on a plane. Piper isn't sure from where, but they speak English there and are staying in a hotel. Piper swims in the pool and goes down the water slide 1,100 times each afternoon. Nana is like Mama's mama, is how Piper explains the relationship. So Piper and Mama study the activity board each morning and wheel Caroline to words, 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 and folding laundry, and CBC News. They accompany Caroline to lunch. "This smooshy corn is delicious," Piper says. "Can we make green jello at home, Mama?" Margaret becomes a real joiner that week, participating in even the most inane activities, and with Piper in the dining room, she cleans her plate, fighting through tiresome swallowing, imagining William's wry commentary, "A moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips, darling." And William isn't the only one who comes back to her. In some lucid dream, her long-dead husband, Jack, spends an afternoon reminiscing about their time together before the children were born, about the house they built on the farm, scrambling to get the exterior walls up before the snow fell, and sleeping, eating, and loving in their framed but unfinished interior. From their lumpy bed under 3 layers of quilts, they could see clear across the house to the kitchen sink, a deep backbreaker salvaged from the old farmhouse. She was never cold in that house. but her back often ached. One morning, the music therapist doesn't show up for Chris Sings Bing, so Piper and Mama's improvised activity is pushing Caroline in laps around the cookie dough hallways. Mama tries to stop Piper from going into Margaret's room, but her favorite aide, Abby, happens to be passing by and tells Mama not to worry. A visit from a child is better than pet therapy. Abby winks, and Mama looks doubtful. "I heard your cough, Margaret," says Piper, "so I knew this was your room. Why don't you have any pretty things beside your door?" Margaret thinks about what her empty personality niche must say to Piper. "You're not empty, Margaret. Would you decorate it for me?" And the dead fly gets company, a lifelike stick figure drawing of Margaret. By the end of the week, her niche holds a collection of drawings on pastel-colored paper, the same texture as her skin. Her niche features airplanes, farmyards, cats, and other residents. Manfred sleeping in his wheelchair, Caroline eating soup. Piper explains her drawings, fidgeting at Margaret's side, picking at a bit of loose rubber on her armrest. "Look, Nana spills like me. That's a blob of potato soup on her bib." "I love your drawings, Piper, and I love you. What are those?" "Those are wings, Margaret. You're flying. I'm flying too. That's me. And your wheelchair is flying." Piper sneezes messily. "Mama says we fly home tomorrow." "Okay, bye. Love you too." Margaret is sicker. She feels hot for the first time in years and lies in bed for 2 days while Jack, at the farmhouse sink, dampens a cloth to cool her forehead. And oh, sweetness. William bakes cookies for the 3 of them and cracks wise. "Que ménage, aren't we 21st century?" Margaret loves and is loved, and she dreams along with her fellow Aspen Grove residents. Their fever dreams are child drawings of figures flying through the air with grace, like ducks, geese, swans.